We're going to be talking about digital marketing mastery, and this is a 4-session course. And the course itself was conjured by AI based on thousands of words that I gave it. And I said, okay, take all of my thoughts, all of my courses. I just recently went over to YouTube and I saw, oh my gosh, I have 41 live streams ranging between 90 minutes and 3 hours. And I realized, okay, what has changed since I did those trainings? And so I took sort of a snapshot of all of that, stuck it inside of the AI, and it came up with 4 modules. I said, actually make me 1 webinar, and instead the AI made me 4 webinars. And it said, based on its findings, it felt that email marketing was the first thing we need to conquer. And the beauty of this is, even though there were, I don't know, maybe 2,200 people invited to today's webinar, the majority of people will be seeing it in their time zone. We're going to be streaming this live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm really, really grateful to all of you for coming here, especially those of you who are watching us live and those of you who are watching the live streams. So let's talk about email marketing. I like to call this the Revamping Email Deliverability Fun and Engaging Guide. It's brought to you by List Refiner team. There's about 5 of us working on the product itself. It's taken about 2 years to build, and the full report is at listrefiner.com. Everything you see here today is from the report. So I'm just going to go through visually what the report says. So if you're like me, I always go to the back of the book. Okay, so when you get your report at listrefiner.com, I recommend you read the end first, because there's the references. The CNBC article that started the report back in 2021, how Apple's email privacy update will change what's in your inbox. And then Litmus, which responded by announcing that the iPhone client had the highest open rate. And then, because this is a reputable marketing firm, it got Google's attention, and Google basically went, we can't let iPhone beat Android. And they went ahead and did basically the same thing. But then something happened. Something happened fairly recently, like within the past year. Google started being the good guy, and they started listening. I would like to think that they were listening to me when I was talking to them. I had maybe about 10 meetings with them talking about email and Gmail and my complaints with it. And maybe myself and lots of other people were complaining about the same thing. But the bottom line is, we were successful in having at least the desktop version and the tablet version of Gmail have images on by default rather than images off. And there's going to be a very, very technical and supportive reason for that. Aside from your emails look nicer, it also allows us marketers to track accurately your open rates. And so Google, I would say, is the only platform that we can accurately track open rates on today. But it still is blocked on phones. But we have a way of checking whether someone's on a phone or whether they're not. So this is in the back of the reference book. So if you go to List Refiner, you can go do that. So let's go to the beginning. In the beginning, I want to read to you our mission statement for List Refiner. At List Refiner, our mission is to consistently address and overcome the challenges of diminished email deliverability rates, especially in light of the global pandemic. We are dedicated to providing our clients with comprehensive data-driven solutions designed to enhance their email success rates. By leveraging our proprietary software and exclusive strategies, we aim to ensure our clients can reach their audience effectively and efficiently. Our mission is underpinned by the extensive research and analysis across hundreds of thousands of case study emails, providing us with a solid foundation to refine and manage projects of any size. Our commitment to our clients extends beyond the provision of software solutions. We are dedicated to providing in-depth, actionable insights that empower our clients to improve their email deliverability. We strive to be the trusted partner for all email deliverability needs, and we stand ready to assist you in navigating this ever-evolving digital landscape. Reach out to us today and let us help you improve your email deliverability, one refined list at a time. Contrary to popular belief, email is no longer a private means of communication. Additionally, free email services are not truly free. What do? Well, they basically use them as data mining points. Have you ever noticed that if you opt in with your email address, that you immediately start getting ads on the same product? If you are looking at something on Amazon, for example, you might start seeing emails about these products. You might even see ads about them. You might even see YouTube videos about the same thing. Well, that's because everything is connected. Your Gmail address is connected to your YouTube. It's all part of a giant data mine. Now, up until recently, this was limited only to large companies with huge advertising budgets to be able to play the game. However, with List Refiner and our strategies, we are able to make this available to everyone. So what led to these changes? Google and Apple have implemented privacy measures that have greatly impacted email deliverability and open rates. However, this information has not been communicated by email vendors like MailChimp and Constant Contact or Aweber, or there's about a dozen other email providers that simply want to keep you paying on a per subscriber basis. And so they're not telling you that the email delivery is about 1/10 of what it was last year. So we've been decoding the changes. Everything in this report is not only fact-checked, but we've tested it ourselves with clients. Today, we're going to be diving deeper into the strategies to ensure your messages reach the right audiences, and we're going to highlight the importance of identifying reachable contacts on your email list. So let's talk about the misconceptions about email deliverability. Let's start by debunking the most common misconceptions. And this is in the report, so you don't actually have to take notes, just pay attention. First one, my subscribers are reading my emails when they open them. The second misconception, my email service provider provides accurate delivery and open rate statistics. Misconception, Gmail prefers plain text emails and dislikes images. Misconception, list cleaning services effectively remove unwanted contacts from your list. So let's talk about these so-called list cleaning services. What do list cleaning services actually do? List cleaning services typically analyze historical opt-in or purchase data, indicating that email addresses once opted in to receive information from a particular source. However, they do not verify in real time whether the contact still uses that email address, whether in the case of Gmail, they've logged in recently and updated their privacy policy, or whether their mailbox is full. We do, and we have accurate data directly from Google that tells us exactly whether someone's mailbox is reachable or whether you're going to have problems. And we also have the ability to do so in real time, not like a month or two removed. It's done in real time. Email service providers such as Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo have specific rules to determine the deliverability of emails. These rules are primarily based on historical factors, including 1, the inclusion of your email address in the recipient's contacts. 2, previous instances of that recipient opening your emails within the last 30 days. 3, the availability of space in the recipient's mailbox. 4, active status of the mailbox. 5, number of emails received per hour from sources other than you. And this has a huge and very significant impact. And think about it. Use your common sense. Gmail in particular, on the phone, wants to show you 5 emails that you absolutely love because they want you using your phone. So they bury everything that doesn't have that form factor usability. On a desktop, you can see about 20 or 30 emails, and they're like one per line. So you can quickly scan what you want, because they know that people will be flipping very quickly through their emails on their phone, and they can sort of take a snapshot on it when they're on their tablet or their computers. So you're really having to come up with cool, and I'm going to show you some of these cool subject lines that are inboxing with our email software. Recently, with the introduction of the new Apple iOS update in fall 2021, the deliverability of bulk emails has decreased significantly. This decline has been attributed to measures implemented to limit email tracking, especially on mobile devices. As a result, the iPhone client has recorded the highest open rate among all the email clients, leading to an increase in iPhone sales. Users now feel more safe and secure with their email experience. In essence, regardless of the email service, iPhones automatically open emails and send back an open tracking code, making it difficult to differentiate between genuine opens and those performed by bots. So let's talk about this opt-in mindset. Opt-in just went through a huge regulatory change in the SMS mobile text messaging space with something called A2P compliance. We're going to be talking about that in our next session. But for this session, I want to talk to you about that this mindset of opt-in has got to go. This is the fundamental big problem with the email. And let me explain, there's two reasons. First of all, when people opt in, they typically will give the worst possible email address just to get the free so-called gift. And so the only time you're ever really connecting with that person is when they're checking their spam folder for other junk mail. That's not the most favorable place to build a relationship and have a conversation with someone. Membership sites, in our opinion, are much better than opt-ins. So opt-in refers to when individuals provide their email address to an organization and expect to receive marketing emails. All right, so who in their right mind is going to say, hey, please send me marketing emails, unless you're in the advertising business. And then the other thing that they do is they're only reading those to get copywriting ideas and for their own business. They're not actually going to buy your product. In the United States, there's no federal law, to my awareness, that says that you have to have an opt-in in order to send an email. For that reason, you can go and purchase lists, especially like they're going to be doing on political campaigns next year, in order to mail to your tribe. The bottom line on this opt-in mindset, it is costing us business owners about $1 per subscriber. It used to be, marketers would say, build your list and you'll earn $1 per subscriber. But the reality is the cost of acquiring a subscriber is about $1 or up to $10 if you're doing like YouTube ads to go to an opt-in form. So let's talk about the problem with current email marketing services. Email marketing services, otherwise known as EMS, they're struggling to reach email service providers, ESPs. So an email service provider would be something like an Aweber, a Constant Contact, a GetResponse, a Kartra. They're struggling to be able to have their emails reach Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo. So ESPs are Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo. EMS are email marketing services. So this arrangement for the past decade has benefited both ESPs and EMSPs, but small business owners are suffering. Due to emails being unread by humans, small business owners experience a decline in sales despite believing their emails were being acted on. To ensure that your emails reach their intended recipients, it's crucial that your from address is added to their address book. This is probably the most important takeaway if you want to literally grab a permanent marker and write it on the back of your arm. Make sure your from address is in their address book. I don't care how you do it, whether you jump on YouTube or whether you are on Facebook and say, hey, I cannot continue to mail to you unless my email address, and this is my email address, is in your address book. Okay. The easiest way to get someone in their address book is simply to ask them to reply, because at least in the case of Gmail, it automatically adds that person's contact to the address book. Other email providers are taking note of this and doing the same thing, which is really, really cool, because we're now bringing email marketing back to the one-to-one marketing medium that it always has been. It is more effective to send emails to a smaller group of engaged recipients rather than sending to all subscribers. Sending mass emails to every subscriber is no longer viable in today's world. You will only reach a small fraction of your subscribers if you continue to do so. I just corroborated some of my research. I read several reports that the magic number right now is 100 people per day. So think about that. 100 people per day. Reach out to 100 people per day. That doesn't mean you should be mailing 2,000 people, because only 100 people will get it. And then you're up to the laws of probability, which 5% are going to ever get that. So let's talk about my new favorite word, shall we? Successful deliveries. Successful deliveries is the only honest metric in email marketing after doing research into hundreds of thousands of emails and deliverability. This is the number of emails sent minus the bounce rate. Write this down. This is the only thing that matters. You might say, well, what about opens and clicks? Well, opens depend on cookies or images. And remember, I told you I had a conversation with Google and I said, hey, why don't you allow images? That way us marketers could at least track the opens. Well, they did. And so now we actually can have accurate open data. And I'm actually looking at my logs, and we are getting accurate open data on Gmail subscribers now that are hitting the inbox. So Gmail is good. Cookies are blocked by mobile devices and most browsers by default now. This also impacts analytics. This impacts Facebook ads. This impacts Google Pixels. This impacts every form of tracking that marketers have been dependent on, that agencies have built their entire careers on. And none of them want to tell you that the data that they're getting is fake. I'm now asking everyone out there, start thinking and crafting emails with images on. If you put a coupon code in your email, put it in a picture. So someone has to turn the image on, and then they'll get the coupon code. That will force them to be tracked, and then you'll know that they will actually have been opened. Otherwise, you'll simply get either the false open, or you're going to be getting a, not even here. So clicks, let's talk about clicks. Clicks can be bots. We can show you that with an audit. Many email senders present you with reports that are approximations of reality, but that's kind of like a revenue projection on a business plan. How many revenue projections accurately reflect reality? My conclusion, friends, we must change because they won't. It's a fool's game to think that this $8.6 billion a year industry cares at all about you building your list. It doesn't. It's going to continue to track opens and clicks. It's going to continue to inflate those metrics so that you keep paying your monthly fees to these very expensive marketing companies. Until I came along, and I'm now creating a new paradigm. The new metrics are successful deliveries and replies. So let's replace opens and clicks with successful deliveries and replies. Do you know about VIA in Gmail? I'm going to give you some examples. This is from this morning, okay? In my spam folder, I get lots of entertainment. There's my friend and former business partner, Cindy Donovan of Wildfire Concepts. who still is using Aweber and still sending via Aweber ends up in spam, and you can clearly see the via is right there. What is the via? Via basically says this person is using a proxy to do their mail delivery, and therefore we should deliver it to spam. Mary Fane Brandt, she uses Kartra. Once again, we have a via, but because Kartra is an authority site, instead of it going to spam, it goes to promotions. Is that much better than spam? Well, these days, who cares? Unless you're hitting the inbox, it doesn't matter. I'm currently forging a partnership with my other product, Tube Relevance on YouTube, with this company called vidIQ. They're doing everything right. They're a big company, hundreds of thousands of customers. Big companies don't use VIA, and Google inboxes them. As you can see, Tim from vidIQ sent me an email to my Gmail, and it's tim.schmoyer@send.vidiq.com. There's no VIA there. Burke, if you're listening, these are stats from your account this morning. I'm working
Horrors,
on
oh no. Is that a good thing? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Take a look at this. We've loaded in 9 subscriber lists. I'm doing it really slowly out of a total of, I guess, 30,000 subscribers. But what I'm saying is, you know what? Let's get some traction on this first. So we sent so far 570 with this very, very slow 100 per day kind of thing. And look what happens. 0% bounce rate. And you've gotten some replies, even testimonials from your customers, right, Burke?
Yeah, that's interesting. That was an unexpected benefit. I'm really shocked to see that, of all of my emails, I send out 68,000 emails. I'm thinking I should be some kind of rock star. And, it looks like I'm getting people looking at it. It looks like nobody's bouncing, or a few bounce, but still, and I don't get any spam things, but the fact that they don't get delivered to their inbox where they see them. I mean, we're all getting probably 300 emails a day these days, especially with people creating with AI. They just crank out emails like crazy. At least if I could get one into people's inboxes, I mean, I write them myself, but, give people a chance.
Yeah, well, your stuff is going into the
it.
mailbox with a brand new email service we did.
Finally, yeah, right. But I mean, you're like this, savant looking at this stuff, and early on you discovered that there's something wrong with this picture, because why aren't these emails being delivered? And I mean, this really has got to shake all these guys up, like the Awebers and MailChimp and all these guys, because apparently if this is all the way this is going, all those services are toast.
Yeah, and they don't want to lose their revenue, so that's why they're not telling their customers.
Wow.
So the Last Honest email service, it allows you to follow email marketing rules without the VIA. It's built on best practices. They literally work with Digital Marketer, who I used to be involved with them as an agency several years ago. Digital Marketer produces the Traffic and Conversion Summit, and they're based in Austin, Texas, with Ryan Deiss, who wrote the de facto book on email marketing, and he also wrote Digital Marketing for Dummies. They built their technology with the best practices of email marketing from 2012 in mind. And then I've had conversations with them now for the past 2 years, and they've upgraded their thinking, and they're actually doing a lot of the things that we now know are the best practices 10 years later, right? So these companies like, Aweber, Constant Contact, their response is to double confirm, double confirm, double confirm, double confirm, double confirm, because what they want to do is they want to be your proxy. When the problem with this VIA stuff is you cannot change providers. You're stuck with them. Once you build your list on Kartra, if you change to something else, your list is gone. If you are on Aweber and you move to, let's say, GetResponse, your list is gone. If you go to GetResponse and you try to move to Aweber, your list is gone. That's why every single provider says, oh, you have to double confirm. Well, these confirmation letters never even reach the inbox. No one even finds them. I'm still testing some of these right now. It's been as much as 6 months delay for someone to click that confirmation letter from a campaign I sent out 6 months ago. It's really, really bleak. We did a Kickstarter campaign last November, and I remember we finally got the final email confirmation in, I think it was February. So it took like 90 days to do all the confirmation for a small list of 30,000. And when I say small list, it's a small list. This morning, the email I wrote to bring you guys to the webinar, look, Ma, no via. And then I used my little ninja tool to turn the word marketing into an emoji so it hits the inbox. That's another little secret. But we're going to talk more about SociSnap next session. SociSnap is my social media tool. You can go check it out at socisnap.com. We're going to have a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, and I'm going to talk about that real soon. But basically, this was me this morning, bright and early, writing an email to invite all of you. And what it does is you can click one button. It will highlight your spam words in yellow, so you can decide whether you want to rewrite it or whether you want to turn that, we call it Snapify, or, you know, snap your email, and then go in there and put those words. I mean, how many of you got the email this morning? If you did, just say, yeah, I got your email this morning in the chat. It'd be great to hear from you. But basically, it does everything. It looks at the number of words, the number of characters. It helps you figure out exactly, you know, you can actually write your emails with it with generative AI. I'm going to be doing a demo of that if we have time today. So we have a commercial service that's now been tested by List Refiner. So far, we've tested about 16,000 emails with this service, and we're going to start testing additional emails with it, but we're very happy. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is used to focus on ranking in the top 10 of Google. However, every SEO professional knows there's no longer a universal top 10 since searches are personalized and geo-targeted. Around 2013, the algorithm that governed all of Google, which is called Google DeepMind, was unleashed onto YouTube, Gmail, and Google Search. And so all of these properties are sort of all now being operated by this massive AI that is sort of looking at, okay, did you check your email? Did you go visit a website? What websites did you visit? Did you go to YouTube? How many videos did you watch? It's all inside of one hermetically sealed environment. And so email SEO is really about designing your emails in such a way that you know that there's a search engine who's going to be reading it, and making sure that you're not giving it words that make it seem like, in the case of email, anything other than a personal communication. And the best way of doing that, as I've been telling Burke, is, hey, dude, don't paste in anything. You know, when Anna replies to you on your email, just take 30 seconds out of your day and say, hey, Anna, it's great to hear from you. And then give her your book. So like the campaign we're right now doing with Burke is called the Business Black Belt. It's a book. I have 2 copies of it. One of them signed from Burke, and it's a great book. It's a fantastic book, and he's giving away the entire book as a PDF just to all of his email subscribers. It's a high value gift. And I said, you know, Burke, we don't need to do an autoresponder for this. When they reply, get to know them, right? And just send them the link in a plain text email. And so what ends up happening now is you're using a bulk service to talk to all your subscribers in bulk. But when they reply to you, you're actually building a relationship with them. And then that's how your customers will start to interact with you.
Yeah, and it's easy enough to do, really. Part of it, I can cut and paste a little template that I make for myself. But at the same time, saying something personal to these people. I mean, these are people who have spent money with me. They bought something from me online that I don't even know them. But, you know, a couple of them sent a couple of great testimonials that I want to follow up on, which is really cool. Well, a lot of my business, in fact, most of my business comes from referrals. They love the business plan. They love the employee handbook. They love that. And they love how it all works. And so the cool thing is, and they're saying something about it. So the least I could do is contact them and say, thank you for that, and add that additional personal touch to it. So I get more referrals. That's really the key. That's probably the cheapest thing anybody can do marketing wise.
Yeah. And so I think you've gotten how many replies have you gotten approximately, Burke?
Well, a couple of dozen so far, just on a short minute. You're setting up partial of my list to. I think you're doing it to prove the concept, in a way to prove the concept to me, but at the same time use it as a showcase to demonstrate to everybody you're talking to that this is how you got to do email these days. There's just no way around it, So yeah.
Yeah, so this is your account, 9 subscriber list, 2,000 subscribers. We have not contacted all of them. We've contacted 570 of them, and 24 people replied to you. I mean, that's like a no-brainer, guys.
It's not like I'm getting a 1% open rate. It's like actually responding. What a concept. They've actually responded.
Yeah, imagine there's a human there that actually cares. If you had 2 sales a day of your product, would you be happy?
Yeah, that would be great.
Right? So we've got to kill these autoresponders. Even Ryan Deiss, when I asked him at the digital marketer meetings when I was there with him in Austin, Texas, he was saying marketing automation works great for the earliest stages of the customer value journey. But as soon as you cross that initial barrier, it's email, individual emails, phone calls, texts, Zoom calls, getting to know people. People want to see your face. They want to know that you're real. They want to sit down with you in a coffee shop. People will get on a private jet to have a meeting to sign a contract. This is the world of business. But imagine how you could scale your business massively with just 100 people per day. Now, I'm only talking about Google here, and I'm talking about the lowest hanging fruit, okay? A cold list you haven't mailed to in a long, long time, and we're bringing that list back, okay? All right, so moving right along. So we talked about SociSnap. Let's talk about the last honest email service. Okay, so sign up at List Refiner or contact your agent who sent you here for the link to this service. Most of my students are all promoting this platform, and they're receiving commissions from it, because you'll quickly find that as soon as something starts working, everybody around you goes, hey, can you help me? Can you help me with that? Can you help me with that? Of course we can. All right, so moving right along, let's talk about the big 5 needle movers that govern deliverability of email. And this is in the List Refiner report in painstaking detail. I just want to give you a couple of key points to it. Now, if you haven't already done so, go to listrefiner.com and go check out the report. The IP address is the #1 factor. IP address stands for Internet Protocol. Well, why is that? That affects both sending and receiving emails. An IP address is a unique numerical label assigned to each device connected to a computer network that uses the Internet Protocol for communication. So whenever you go to something like listrefiner.com, have you ever wondered what a .com is? Well, you're basically paying a company that's called a directory, whether it's GoDaddy, EarthGrid, or any of our other domain providers out there. You're paying that company $10 a year to list your number in their directory, and that's what's called a domain name. So then they take the friendly name, listrefiner.com, they translate that into a series of numbers, and then they give that to the data scientists that actually govern the deliverability of the website, the deliverability of the email, all these factors. Well, IP address wasn't enough because you can have several clients under one IP address. So then they came up with SPF, Sender Policy Framework. It primarily affects email sending rather than receiving. basically SPF says, okay, is this actually List Refiner that's sending you the email? Is this actually Website Help Out? Is it actually SociSnap? Or is it someone pretending it to be that? Like, how many of you have gotten fake Facebook emails? Well, you can very quickly go to the SPF of the email. It's right inside the header if you know how to look for it. And you'll instantly see that the SPF is fake. It cannot be forged, okay? And if your SPF record is not set up properly, you're never going to reach the inbox. Well, that wasn't enough. So now they want to look at MX records. Well, what is an MX record? An MX record means that you can actually reply back to someone and they'll get it. It won't bounce. And so most people who use proxy services for their email marketing, they don't have the reply on the same network as the sender. And so Google goes, oh yeah, easy peasy, that's Aweber, let's put it in spam, as I showed you earlier. Well, that wasn't enough. So then they came up with DKIM. And DKIM basically adds a digital signature to outgoing emails, and that's verified by the receiving email using a corresponding DKIM record published in the sender's DNS name system. We just got a sale. That was kind of cool. I don't know if you heard the ka-ching, but yeah, I have a ka-ching on my phone. Thank you, whoever was out there and just purchased List Refiner. I appreciate that. Okay. But my goal here today is not to sell you anything. My goal here today is to inspire you, educate you, and have you share this information and challenge me on any of it, okay? Because I want to get this out there. I took a long time to write these big 5 needle movers because this is so important for everyone to understand. So DKIM is kind of like an SSL or security certificate. You know the little lock and key that's under your website when you go there? Well, the same people said, well, why don't we do that for email? So you actually have to have a certified key that's issued by a server, and then that key has to be made on the server. And then whenever someone sends a mail, if that key's inaccurate or it's got a wrong number, then we'll know it's fake and not being spoofed. Well, once again, if you have a proxy like Kartra, Constant Contact, or any of these other myriad services, even Go High Level, any service that's sending mail that's not actually issuing the keys themselves from the originating data center where it's coming from is going to get flagged. It's so simple to see when you look at the records. So it's very easy for Gmail to sustain that 99.9% anti-spam capability because they're the biggest and the best in the business, and they're doing it right and with ethics and with integrity. They tell you, hey, we have limits. We block spammers. Don't spam our system. Imagine how long you would last if you went to San Francisco and you started handing out flyers for your upcoming presentation at the Bank of America building. You went from floor to floor just handing out flyers. Security would escort you by the time you got to the second floor. You might get 50 or 60 flyers on people's desks before you got escorted. And that number 50 is about the number that we find is about accurate. 50 is safe. After 50, between 50 and 100 is when Google starts actually really looking at the content of your letter. And this is where the full name and any mail merge information you have. So like Burke, in your case, if you have data like the name of their website, a little bit of an information about them, if they filled out like a survey form and you're giving them a survey form, like one of the tests we're doing right now is we're doing a color test. So people come from YouTube, they click on our opt-in form, they put in their name and their email, and then we send them a color test, and a bunch of questions that personalizes the letter. And then that letter takes all of their reading, so to speak, their business personality, and it sends that back to them. And what that does, it's engineering each letter to be somewhat unique. And so we talked at the very beginning with Jeff about the importance of artificial intelligence. But I'm saying is it's more important to have human intelligence, logic, thinking about, oh, what are the deep questions I can ask my subscribers in order for them to want to reply to me and give them value rather than spamming them. So that's DKIM. It's a digital signature. And now the most insidious one at the very end is called DMARC. Now, DMARC is probably the most difficult one to set up because you actually put your from address. Typically, it's abuse@domain.com. And then your domain provider will handle all the abuse requests. And that abuse request comes in the form of an email that providers, ESPs like Yahoo, AOL are the most common ones that send back these DMARC complaints. And basically, if someone files a complaint on your email, which means this is spam, they clicked the this is spam button, or they did something like that, it actually physically sends you a letter. And it looks to see if DMARC has a record, and then it will send it to that address. And what I found, 90% of my clients don't have DMARC set up properly. Or, you know, what's really funny, Burke? Their DMARC goes to a mailbox that bounces. And I just was laughing the other day, realizing, oh my God, when Yahoo is sending you a complaint letter, I mean, just imagine if, you know, you had property tax that was due, or, you know, your rent, you know, payment was late, or your, let's say your electric bill didn't show up, right? And you
Yeah, something important.
right? Yeah. And all of a sudden it gets an answer, sorry, there's no one here at this address.
That's a little disconcerting.
It's a little
it?
disconcerting. And so because 90% of the people don't have their needle movers set up properly, all they have to do is send a few emails, and pretty soon none of their mail starts delivering. You know, the more mail you send, the less likely you'll ever send mail again. And then what you'll find is you have, you know, we jokingly call them disposable domain names. But basically your domain name then gets flagged, and then your IP address gets flagged, and then your data center gets flagged, and everything just starts to collapse around you. And I think DMARC is the #1 factor that we find is what's causing all of that. So let me simplify this for you. When an email is received by an email server, the server checks the DMARC record for the sender's domain to determine the appropriate action to take. The DMARC policy can instruct the receiving server to either accept, quarantine, or reject the email based on the alignment results of SPF and DKIM checks. That's the technical answer. So not only do you need to have a proper correspondence address that should go to a human being that can respond accordingly to the Yahoos, AOLs, and Gmails of the world, I haven't seen Google send very many, at least maybe because I'm doing things right on the Google side, but most of my DMARC emails come from Yahoo and AOL, interestingly enough. And you actually specify what policy you want to do. And I would say you don't want to be doing a reject policy, because that basically means you just don't want to hear from them. And if you really want to build relationships, and let's face it, your customers, if they're on AOL, I still have friends that are on AOL. They've been on AOL for the last 20 years. They're not going to give up their AOL email address. They're just not. And if you want to reach those people, you've got to play by the rules of the providers that govern them. All right, enough on the 5 needle movers. The painstakingly detailed report, it's about 3 pages long, goes into that at listrefiner.com. All right, so let's talk about the DIY list service. DIY stands for do it yourself. We've been looking, okay, could we do a drive-through, kind of like Jiffy Lube? Or like, you know, if you want to go and get your oil change, you go to Oil Changers, right? We wanted Lister Finder to be a drive-by kind of experience, but also have an agency back end to it. So this is what we're doing. We have a step-by-step guide on how to refine your email list. It's super simple. 2 columns in a spreadsheet, all caps, header on the first row, name, comma, email. No quotation marks. Please just keep it simple. Put it in Excel. Put it in open sheets. Put it in Google Sheets. Just make sure you have name and email, and that's it. Can you do this and delete all the other data? Let me hear a yes from you in the chat if you can take a sample of your subscribers and just put 2 columns only, name and email. Okay, yes, yes, yes. I see a bunch of yeses in there. Hey, Jeff, I'm glad you could do that. Okay, Jeff, do you think you could help clients with this? Because I can't tell you how many clients I told them to do this, including city governments, which we won't name, but they tried to upload e-mail space address in the first lot, and then first space name in the first thing, and it just confuses the heck out of our software. We're trying to make it dummy proof, but Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, basically we just need a template and a gate. That's no problem.
Yeah. Well, they still add all these other columns because they think, oh yeah, please take all these other columns, the address, the phone number, all these things are important. No, we can deal with that other stuff later once we have an engagement, but we don't want to see any of that because we just want to, take a bird's eye view of the health of your current list. Okay. Our software automatically fixes capitalization and the first and last name. So in other words, it capitalizes the first name, it splits it into 2 columns for you. So now you can actually go into your mail provider and bring everything back in. This alone will massively increase your deliverability. And we did a test last year for a massive campaign. I think it was over 100,000 emails. And we saw, it was a split test. We did just dear first name, as most people do. And then we did the other half with 2 first name space last name RE, like a business letter, and it said what the subject line was. And then we tried to put some additional data on them if we had it from the other provider, like where you're located or anything like that. And then the deliverability was roughly double of just the name with the first name. Okay. And the reason for that is because you're creating a unique signature of that letter. The more you can mail merge your letters with AI, the better you're going to be. And that's where our research is going right now. Just make it look like each letter is an individual letter being written by a human being. Okay, if you're exporting from Zoom and already have last name separated, put in 3 fields. And we just call them, for brevity, F name, L name, and email. Optional field tags is okay as well. So you can have a field called tags. If you have several tags, have the tags field have a quote with commas. Our Lister Finder actually is smart enough to figure that out. And so if you have all these tags from a previous campaign, we can load that in and use it once you sit down and have an engagement with us. And then just upload a sample. Head on over to listerfinder.com, but talk to your Lister Finder agent or rep first. We can see the health and quality of your list with a very small sample. From that, we can produce an estimate of the entire project. So how this works is the rep will make sure your list is there, make sure your sample is uploaded. We will run a test sample of it. We may even give you back, say, hey, here's 500 people you want to contact, the best 500 that we think you should contact. And then based on you testing that, we can produce an estimate of the entire project for you. And then your rep will be able to reach out to you and give you that kind of data. Jeff, you want to maybe jump in here and talk about how important it is to work with a certified professional that really understands this stuff. And then my team can basically go in there and like, I will sit down with the agent and I'll talk about your list with you. And then they will convey that data to you in the form of a proposal. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, so there's sort of a bigger picture here, right? I mean, in terms of List Refiner and implementation, no matter what, every organization or business or government entity that is going to work with this is going to have their own unique issues because they have their own list, they have their own content. It's like there's so many aspects of it that are unique to them that taking an off-the-shelf solution is only an option if you have an internal team that's going to do all that development for you. So effectively, what can be offered at an agency level, it can be specific to email. It can even go beyond that, right? It's a question of which tools are going to make the most difference at the end of the day. And in terms of List Refiner, that's where should you be focusing your time and attention out of a lot of points of contact that you've already established, but aren't necessarily getting a lot of traction with. So that's a very specific problem that we can address in a very focused way, but there are also much broader questions that we can use this and other related tools to address in a bigger way. So I think that's where, when you're talking about an agency and you're talking about solutions, yeah, that's where, it's not just reps, it's like a whole team involved at that point. Right, like individual reps, we can walk you through, how to use this software and how to put it on your list. But at an agency level, you're getting a much, broader solution that can touch marketing and content creation, that can touch different social media platforms, that can have custom integration. Like it's sort of its whole own thing. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely signaling in the right direction that it's an open door that is, can lead a lot of different places depending on what the specific needs are for that specific company or organization.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And I think that is really key because the audience that this is really tailored for is small, medium, and large businesses because all of them exist on LinkedIn. This presentation is going out to large companies, is going out to small companies. And through the interactive process of List Refiner, we're going to be able to very, very accurately not only look at some sample data, we will also, like Burke comes on board and all of a sudden has this aha moment with his first 500. That's what we want. We want to say, okay, now that we've built some success and you actually can see the light at the end of the tunnel, what if we start moving toward multi-channel, omni-channel, something that integrates X with Facebook, with Instagram, with YouTube, with email. So you have a cohesive conversation that you're having, and that's a complete value journey that you're building. But see, the doorway to that, at least on the side of email, which is solving the biggest pain that people are having right now that they don't even know. I mean, the way it shows up in their world is, like Burke said, I thought I was a rock star sending 65,000 emails, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting any sales. Right? This is why. And now that you can actually see, okay, let's take small samples. Let's take a systematic approach. Like we have a 90-day plan with Burke to bring back his 250,000 list as best as we can to have him buy his core product line, and as well as hiring him as a consultant to help him with their business. And so that spells lots of revenue for small, medium, and even large businesses.
I would say the main thing is just keeping in mind that List Refiner provides an excellent example of what can be done. Mm-hmm. This is one product that's accomplishing something that I think a lot of different products that you've spoken to and developed can do, each in their own segment, or as a full solution. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be looking forward to when we have that sort of larger conversation about how all these pieces fit together. Because List Refiner, it may be a standalone product for a lot of email marketers, totally. I think it's also part of a full, marketing need as you start moving up from smaller businesses to larger and larger ones.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you. Burke, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, this whole thing, it's kind of mind-numbing, complicated, and it's something that I don't want to get into myself, which is why I'm hiring you, obviously, because, if anybody knows how to do this, you do this every day. And I transferred my domains over to you because I'm saving 50% on those. And once I got the hang of that, that's easy because I've got 110 domains as I count them up, which is staggering as well. Anyway, it's complicated. And I don't think any of us want to try to do this ourselves. I think it's a mess, but that's just the way the world is at the moment. You're right about the spam thing, but we got to get through to people. And email is still viable. I've got people arguing saying it's not viable. It's not viable.
Oh, no, email is king.
Well, I know, but people are saying email is not viable. Well, it's not viable because it's not working for them because of all the problems you've just outlined. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to make
it's a miracle that any of it gets delivered. And the funny thing is these email service providers like the Awebers and the Kartras, they've got staff that are setting these records up correctly. But here's the problem. Your list is now owned by them, right? And they built their business around that mindset. Hey, come to Kartra and, pay us $300 a month and we'll handle all your needs, all your membership sites. It's an all-in-one solution, as they call it, right? Yeah. Well, that all-in-one solution now owns you. Okay. Because they set up their
That's a scary thing. I mean, we've seen that before where all during the pandemic, people are getting shut down, deplatformed and all that, and their whole business just gets just trashed. I mean, even I heard that PayPal, for example, if they have they had something for a while there that if you were sending money to someone they didn't approve of, they would charge you $2,500. Where do they get off doing that? And then you got problems where if something goes wrong, then they shut your account down pending investigation. And most of us, we're not trying to do it. I mean, the people who are the real spammers, these are the guys who are coming out of Russia and wherever else they are, China. And most people here are just trying to sell a thing and get in front of you and say, hey, I mean, the biggest problem we have is opening up our emails with stupid things like, hey, just hope your day is going well today, or just bumping my email up to the top of your stack. I mean, those are to me just like, get out of here. I delete them as fast as it's. I got the wrist action. I can hit that delete key so fast it'd make your head spin. So that's the problem we really have, is putting out an email that makes sense and trying to do them with AI. Although you can still make some good emails with AI, I am just blown away that people don't bother to edit the thing that's created with the AI because these things, they need editing. The AI is not ready for prime time.
Yeah.
And
our SocieSnap AI is doing a great job of email marketing and everything.
It does. But at the same time, it's not a really big, long email. And at the same time, I'm just saying it does a great job, but you've got to edit it and make sure.
You got to edit it. You need to have a human touch.
Yeah. I mean, we're all selling something. Like I'm selling business templates for writing business plans that get people millions of dollars. I cannot have typos. The people who write these checks have MBAs from Ivy League schools. Do you think they got through there with typos? No. Or
spam words like
or spam word. I digress. Right? That's really what we need to worry about, is making sure that our messages is on track, is the right thing. You have got to deal with all the plumbing and wiring behind the scenes to make sure the messages get delivered. And it's just gotten a hell of a lot more complicated. And with all the security stuff coming in place and all the bank restrictions and all other hoo-ha going on. Like you said, it's a miracle they get delivered at all.
It's a miracle the world is still here. I wake up every morning going, God, I'm so glad the world's still here.
It's still here. The sun's up. Yay, we made it. I'm alive. Yeah.
I'm alive.
So I really developed a lot of respect for the plumbing and wiring that you've uncovered and dealt with, because
there are also strategies. And I say, wow, let me try this. And then, wow, it worked. It's kind of like, making an omelet. I made a lot of bad omelets before I learned how to make a good one, right? Like you have to turn on medium heat, not high heat. If you turn on high heat, it's going to burn the eggs. You have to warm the pan before you put the oil in. I mean, there's little things you learn from doing stuff, right? But let me talk to you a little bit about this, the SocieSnap. We're going to go deep into SocieSnap in our next session. And those of you who are customers of SocieSnap, we're going to have another session real soon before this session for customers. But we're going to go into a presentation around social media and SocieSnap. However, I just want to emphasize a thing that we built into SocieSnap, which is the voice transcription. What I've been telling all of my students over and over and over and over and over and over again is use the spam word as a catalyst for your creativity. When you see a page like this that's generated by AI and you see all this word marketing, I have to come up with a synonym. I got to come up with a better way of saying, well, what is it marketing? What am I really trying to say? Could I maybe not use the cliche language that everybody else is using? Could I maybe tell a story or give an analogy or create something that's a little bit more juice, has a little bit more interest in it? And so every time what I say is, the more human you make your letters, and SociSnap will tell you where you're not being human because you're using, Mad Men 1950s copywriting techniques that are no longer viable today, because anyone who's a copywriter automatically goes to spam because all the copywriting language has been programmed into the AI. Say, oh, marketing message. You've got to basically you can't copyright. The place for copywriting is on your sales page. The place for copywriting is on your web page. It does not belong in social media. It does not belong in your emails. Copywriting should only be on your PDFs, your final sales pages. You don't want to put it anywhere. Like, you can put it on your blog, but don't put it in any public medium that is owned by someone else. You see what I mean? Twitter. When you're putting something out on Twitter, it's kind of a preview of what we're talking about in social media. But when you're putting something out in someone else's domain, like Twitter, Yahoo, AOL, and stuff like that, keep in mind that that is now moving. It's a transfer of ownership. When you have that copy on your sales page, on your website, you're the dominion, you're the captain of your own ship. But when you're sending this email stuff out, or when you're posting on social, you're in the domain of the other, and it's best to not be using these words, and use the words like a hidden gem. It's a great thing. Take the hidden gem and make it something that's more fun and interesting, and another way of saying it, and then your emails will not only deliver better, it's not going to be using this common vernacular that everybody else is using, which we call marketing speak, right? So our SociSnap software scans your content for known spam words and highlights them in yellow, so you can either turn them into emojis to bypass the email bots. That's a gray hat technique. Or simply, what I recommend, rewrite your text to be less markety sounding. And then when you do that, you're going to see a huge, huge improvement. All right, moving on. Let's talk about click audits. Today's webinar was promoted with click audits, and I was really happy with how few bots were in the click. Last time I did this, we had way more bots. And let me explain the concept of a click audit. A click audit is a service we offer to accurately determine if a click is made by a human. This service tracks multiple newsletters across various email channels to identify the most active and engaged customers using different devices. So how does it work? Once installed, your clicks go through a custom subdomain. So like in your case, Burke, we would use something like click.yourwebsite.com, or it'd be like click.listrefiner.com. And the reason you want to do that is because when the click happens, it needs to be on the same domain as the origin. Most of the email delivery companies have click.aweber.com, and then from there, they redirect over to your website. Well, email providers can capture that. So you have to be able to deliver the click audit as close to home as possible, so that then you can actually observe which of the clicks are being read by the bots. We just build those codes in your domain, and therefore we can have an accurate audit. And I'm running a click audit right now on this campaign that I sent out this morning. And it's pretty cool because everyone who's here came through that audit trail, unless they came into one of our previous classes. So how it works is, once it's installed, our script redirects the results to your desired destination after logging the responses, but it's different than an email service provider. You're basically setting up your website as an email service provider, and when they click on it, it actually shows us who's clicking on it. And what we found when we did this is a lot of our emails are being read by like Barracudas, especially if you start mailing to universities. They've got multiple firewalls and multiple technologies that are reading. They take the contents of the letter, they scan all the links in the letter, and then as soon as they scan that link, they spider that link. Well, when that link goes through a click audit, we see a log of that, and we can see, oh, Barracuda was checking it out. And so I ran a campaign with a click audit for a event that I was promoting, and one of the emails on there, I saw that every link was clicked, and every link was clicked 3 or 4 times. What ended up happening was I could see that, unless the guy was like teleporting from New York to Florida to California to all over the place, the locations where these clicks were coming from was literally all over the place. And that's when I knew, aha, the click audit is showing me that this particular provider is hooked up to some sort of a scanning software that reads all of your clicks and clicks on all the links inside your letter. And I just basically said, okay, well, let's delete this guy from our subscriber list, or let's just reach out to him with an individual email. Like one of the homework assignments I give my advanced students, I say, okay, when you start seeing like your best clients and they have really good systems like that,
yeah,
you just want to have a VA, and don't mail them anything from your provider, because it's going to hurt the deliverability of all your other people who are like on Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, or, or just plain old businesses that have a regular old plain email address. But, when someone has that, deep security, just compose, copy, paste, send. That's what I'm saying. And a click audit will uncover these people, because these people are hurting your, it could be like 1 or 2 people are hurting your deliverability for your entire campaign. And there's no way we would see that unless we ran a click audit.
How much of an impact is it when, like I'll see some, like, I was sending out some emails through GoDaddy, and then it would say bounces, reported as spam. And fortunately, few people report me for spam out of 60,000. But what's the deal there on, what's the, how impactful, how much damage can someone do?
It does
by
a lot of damage.
reporting me for spam?
It does
Even
a lot of damage. That's why it's all done through the DMARC record that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
When they report you as spam, it sends a notification to GoDaddy, and then GoDaddy's bots have to go in there and log that. The mail service that we recommend, our recommended email service, allows you to specify your own email address. Like we recommend support at your website. So like whenever we send an email from ListRefiner, the DMARC report or complaints go to support@listrefiner.com. Then myself or other people can read those reports, and then we can take action accordingly. You don't want these reports going to GoDaddy. You don't want these reports going to, to some authority that has the power to shut you down. You want to handle those reports yourself. And that's one of the reasons why we recommend the service that we do. So a common question I get, why not use Google Analytics for tracking? Isn't Google Analytics great? Well, I say, yeah, Google Analytics is great, but Google Analytics requires the firing of a pixel or a script to track the result. And many browsers and security software plugins block Google specifically. So our server-side script cannot be blocked, allowing us to store UTM, stands for Urchin Tracking Module, data in a database and compare clicks to see the actual results. And then when we run a campaign for a client, we can actually observe, okay, these are the people on your list that are causing problems with your deliverability. Let's maybe, move them into a different bucket. Let's put them on with your VA or your secretary and have them correspond with them, because it's just not, it's not viable for a bulk medium to be, or any kind of automation to be running to that person's email address. All right. It's a maze. But I just want you to think common sense. And just take a
Yeah.
deep breath because we've been talking a long time here. Phones and other mobile devices block tracking cookies by default. Analytics depends on cookies, which are being blocked. Opens depend on cookies, which are being blocked. Unless you actually put in an image pixel, which, like in the case of Google, you can actually get accurate opens. But there's enough of those opens, you don't even know that they're actually being opened. So it kind of is a mix. So just because someone opens doesn't mean they actually opened. Clicks can be these bot spiders, and we can see this with every single audit. So how can you trust the data your email delivery service is giving you when they want you to pay per subscriber? Well, the answer is you can't. What you need to do is pick a service that will allow you to pay a reasonable fee, and then you basically do your best practices within that service, and you're not being charged more. This is the email that I sent out this morning. Overview of Digital Marketing Masterclass V1, 2,186 successful deliveries, 0 fails. 0 hard bounces, 0 soft bounces. And what I like about this program is it truly is like Roundtable Pizza. It's a last honest email provider. You look at the stats, and to the best of my knowledge, I'm like right now doing a click audit, corroborating the clicks that they're telling me with the clicks I'm getting from my list audit, and I'm getting matching results, which is totally awesome. This is really, really, really cool to see that I can send 2,000 emails, have 0 hard bounces, 0 soft bounces. And I did this, over a span of time leading up to this moment right now. And so I think, the nurturing of your email list is very important. Let's talk about the new mindset for email. And every single person, Matt Basak and all of you marketing guys out there that are busy sending millions of emails a day, this is my message to you. Every email I send to you from now on, when you reply, I'll reply back myself. That's my message. The magic formula. Success rate equals emails delivered minus bounces. So right now we're dealing with 100% success rate with the List Refiner. Engaged leads. What are engaged leads? These are people who reply and you can reply back to and build a relationship with. My conclusion, the key takeaway is focus on deliverability rate and replies. Take the next steps to improve your email deliverability with slow, reliable email services. As we draw to a close, I just want to take a moment to express my profound gratitude. On behalf of the entire List Refiner team, we are deeply appreciative of your time, your engagement, and your eagerness to both learn and grow alongside us on this journey. Your participation fuels our passion to facilitate learning and to share our expertise. This brings us to the end of today's broadcast, but certainly not to the end of our shared journey. If you found value in our session today, we would be thrilled if you would hit the like button. If you haven't already done so, do subscribe to our channel. This not only supports our work, but also ensures you won't miss any upcoming content crucial for your growth. We are excited for what's coming next, another enlightening edition of the Digital Marketing Masterclass. So remember to stay tuned as we continue to delve deeper into the dynamic world of digital marketing, unlocking its secrets, unraveling its complexities, and unveiling its vast potential. Once again, thank you for joining us today. And until next time, keep refining, keep learning, and keep growing.